I recently uploaded a video how to train in your 40s and it resonated with a lot of you. But the main question that came out of that was, okay, but how do we eat in our 40s? This is what we're going to talk about today. Are you ready? Let's get into it. Nutrition is an absolute minefield. There is so much conflicting information out there, so it's no wonder that most of you are frustrated and confused. But for me, the most misleading piece of information that seems to have just stuck in the psyche of all women in their 30s and beyond is the eat less, move more approach. Now, this oversimplified truth, I'm not saying doesn't work, and it might work really well for you when you're young, in your 20s. But things inevitably get harder once you hit 30 and beyond, especially when your hormones start to change. I'm sure you've tried all the latest fads, you've done calorie restriction, low fat, tracking your macros, weighing all your food, doing excessive cardio.
No carbs, all carbs, fasting, no fasting, keto, carnivore, paleo, vegan.
But what happens is you get on that bandwagon, it works for a little while, then it's too restrictive so you fall off, and then that cycle just repeats over and over. I mean, what I'm about to share with you isn't groundbreaking. There is no best kept secret. In fact, it is so boringly simple that most women just goes right over their head. But it's the only true way to get results in your 40s. So here are my 6 top tips to get your nutrition on track. Now, before I talk about food, I'm going to talk to you about the most important thing when it comes to your nutrition and getting results. You have to change your mindset from one of obsessing about the number on the scales and excessive cardio and calorie restriction and weighing your food. That's just a never-ending uphill battle of weight loss. This is the mentality that keeps you stuck on that hamster wheel we talked about. I'm talking low-fat diets, low-calorie diets. All that does is lead to a weak and undernourished body, and you're never going to get the results that you want with that approach. Instead, you have to change your mindset to one of building muscle, to stoke your metabolism, to change your body composition. Just means that you're building muscle and strength while staying effortlessly lean. But that requires you to fuel your body for performance and to nourish your body for a healthy gut and happy hormones. That is how you get the results. Now let's talk about the food. Protein is the star of your plate. And let me specify, when I say protein, I mean animal-based protein. The mainstream really has done a number on this, telling women that red meat is the devil, that you need to be eating more carbs, more plants, and less meat to be healthier, that somehow ultra-processed pea protein powder is healthier for you than a real whole food like steak, telling you that it's the saturated fat that comes along with meat that is actually going to give you a heart attack. So they tell you to eat seed oils and tofu. The truth is that protein-rich animal-based foods like red meat and chicken and fish and eggs and dairy products contain all of the essential amino acids that your body needs in order to function. Not only that, the bioavailability means that it is by far superior to plant proteins. That's a whole other video, which I'm happy to talk about. But basically what I'm saying is that animal proteins are the literal building blocks of every cell in your body. And if you don't get enough of this stuff on a daily basis, you are not going to be able to build muscle. You are not going to be able to recover from your workouts. You literally can't regenerate or repair your cells. So protein is the foundation of your nutritional needs, especially as a woman over 30, because you lose 3 to 8% of your muscle mass every single decade from your 30s onwards. So if you're approaching your 40s, you need to mitigate that loss by actually eating more protein as you age, not less. And that means prioritizing protein with every single meal. And obviously that goes hand in hand with lifting weights, so watch this video, How to Train in Your 40s, to learn more. So because protein is so important to the body, it's also the most satiating macronutrient of the 3. being protein, fats, and carbs. It actually stops you from overeating all the other stuff that is stopping you from getting the results that you want. So it's the natural muscle builder and an appetite regulator. So aim to have animal-based protein with every single meal. You're looking at between 30 to 45 grams per meal sitting, and that roughly looks like a chicken breast or a salmon fillet or 150 gram steak or 4 to 5 large eggs. And if you're weight training with the goal of building muscle, which you should be if you're in your 40s, then you want to aim for between 1.8 to 2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight. I've got tons of high protein recipes in my Strong Curves cookbook, so check that out in the link below. And that brings me on to point number 3, which is eat less carbs. Now, before you all lose your minds in the comments below, that doesn't mean eat no carbs. We as a whole, and especially as women, have been brainwashed into thinking that we need to eat far more carbs than we actually need to. Now, I'm not talking about fruits and vegetables, because obviously they are great in a healthy balanced diet, so they're full of micronutrients and vitamins and minerals and fiber, but it's the very high sugar starchy carbs that I'm talking about, like rice and potatoes and oats and bread and pasta. Even if they're marketed as healthy whole grain, doesn't mean that they should make the staple of every meal. But that's exactly what the mainstream health and fitness tells you to do. You see these fitness influencers on social media and they're eating oats for breakfast, and then they're having some sort of chicken salad wrap for lunch, and then they're having either rice or pasta for dinner. It's actually very, very high carb and very low nutrients, because you're not getting enough protein and definitely not getting enough healthy fats. Looks great on the food pyramid, by the way, which is completely corrupt and an absolute joke if you're anyone in the health and fitness industry who understands human physiology and human health. The food pyramid is actually the exact opposite of what you should be doing. So instead of making carbs the star of your plate and limiting protein, flip it. And if you do that alone, just watch how your body responds positively. Carbs are a great source of energy. So how much you should be eating depends on a couple of things, but mainly your muscle mass, like how much muscle you actually have, and also how active you are. So logically, if you are a jacked up young 20-year-old fitness influencer who has a lot of muscle, already really lean, trains intensively every single day, then yes, they will need more carbs than a 41-year-old stay-at-home mum who has belly fat to lose, not a lot of muscle mass, and isn't as active. So maybe they only do 3 home workouts a week. Basically, if you aren't a jacked up bodybuilder, why are you eating like one? So here's the answer. Simply eat your carb-rich foods, I'm talking pasta, oats, rice, that kind of thing, around your workouts. And then for all of the meals, when you're not as active, you don't need that many high sugar, high starch, high GI carbs. So stick to fruits and veggies. And obviously it goes without saying that we always prioritize real whole foods. So although people might think that what I'm essentially telling you to do is eat a low carb diet, I just want to preface this by saying that there is no set in stone, one rule, one size fits all when it comes to nutrition. So what I'm saying is, if you're going to adapt your nutrition to suit you, it might change literally on a weekly basis, depending on where you are in your cycle. So it really is a case of listening to your body, because your body knows best. If you want me to talk more in depth about how to eat during your cycle and the different 4 phases, let me know in the comments below. But I do go into more detail in my Strong Curves cookbook, so again, link in below. And before, don't be scared of healthy fats. This one, for some reason, especially for women in our generation, is so hardwired into the psyche, and I think it probably comes from looking at our parents' generation, who were just deathly afraid of butter and fats, and this is where the whole low-fat diet culture came in. Getting enough healthy fats in the diet is so crucial for your hormone health, for your brain function, for your nervous system. This is what I'm talking about, changing your mindset. This is something that will feel counterintuitive to you if you've done decades of low-fat dieting and low-calorie dieting. It's hard to get your head around this one, but I'm not saying you have to gorge on fats, obviously, but having enough in your diet is going to make the world of difference to how you feel physically in your body. Not having enough healthy fats can lead to hair loss, mood swings, always getting sick, not being able to recover properly, vitamin deficiencies, skin issues. So incorporating healthy fats into your diet, like real butter, avocado, olive oil, full fat dairy products, and fatty fish like salmon, nuts. Oh, and ditch the low fat products. It's such a marketing gimmick. They take out all the goodness of the healthy fats and they replace it with crap to make it taste good, like sugar and emulsifiers and gums. It's go full fat or go home. Now, number 5 is a bit of a controversial one. It is fasting. And particularly fasting according to your cycle. There's lots of conflicting information out there. Some experts say that fasting for women is horrendous, that it ruins your hormones. Other people say it's great for your metabolism, so which is it? By the way, I am just going to point out here that you do realize we all fast for an average of 8 hours every single day while we sleep. That's why our first meal of the day, breakfast, is called breakfast, i.e. break fast. So all these people who are fear-mongering, saying that you shouldn't fast at all and need to eat every 2 hours, they need to chill out. And anyway, this topic is so vast, I probably need to do a completely separate video on this. Let me know if you're interested in that. But here's the gist. While fasting can be immensely beneficial for a lot of people, it's not for everyone. And if you are going to do it, I don't recommend that you go to extremes. Simply cutting out the snacking in between meals can have great benefits. And it can also be great for your insulin sensitivity, which I will talk about in a minute. And just naturally, if you're in tune with your body, you might find that you naturally lean towards fasting in your follicular phase, where your body needs more protein and healthy fats and not so much on the carbs. You might find that your appetite naturally decreases at this time. On the flip side, in your luteal phase, you might find that fasting isn't so great and that you have more carb cravings and that you want to eat more. So it's about honoring your body, really listening, being in sync with your cycle and doing what feels best for you. And now, number 6, the last tip, stabilizing your insulin. Working to stabilize your insulin levels is a huge piece of the puzzle that most people ignore. It's very difficult to do that as well when you're eating a low calorie, low fat, high carb diet. So most of your symptoms like brain fog, energy crashes, your inability to lose your belly fat, cravings and lethargy all comes down to you chronically spiking your insulin. Now, insulin is your fat storing hormone. It's what's responsible for shuttling the sugar into the cells of your muscles when you eat carb-rich foods like pasta and rice and oats and bread. And eventually, if you do this chronically over long periods of time, your insulin just stops working properly. And then you get to chronic illnesses, increasing your risk of cardiovascular disease, obesity, type 2 diabetes, chronic inflammation, and a whole host of other things. Now, to avoid this, the key is to balance your meals. Really simple. So what do I mean by balancing your meals? Simply making sure that if you're going to eat carbs, that you also eat protein and healthy fats with it. Less spikes means less crashes, means more stable energy, and less risk of chronic issues down the track. Basically, clothe your carbs. It'll keep you fuller for longer. It'll stop you from craving 2 hours later and being hungry again. It'll give you steady energy and your brain fog will be gone. So how much easier is it then to perform in the gym, to smash your workouts and stay on a healthy routine when you're feeling good? If you want me to talk about any of those things in more detail, drop me your questions down below. Curious to know if you've tried any of these tips now that you've approached your 40s and beyond. Have they helped? And if you are ready to dive in and start taking these tips on board but you don't know where to start, grab a copy of my Strong Curves cookbook. It's got hundreds of healthy, high protein recipes. It's a great addition to your kitchen. Hope you enjoyed that video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will catch you very soon in another video. Bye.